Hey, good morning, you guys. Welcome to another episode of the Brothers of Legacy. This is Thursday morning, and so we are going to get it started because I love you. I love you guys. I'm glad you're here. My other brothers will be along shortly. But while they are coming along, I'm gonna run the intro. You guys hold tight for me.
But don't be the meal. You know when you said that, don't be the meal.
Experience is the best teacher, but truth is the Holy Spirit is the best teacher.
If you can find the straightest path to the queen that you're supposed to be with, I believe in, and she finds her straightest path to you, then I think it gets away from all those, the skeletons in the closet.
We aim for the wrong things.
Right.
We aim to make our children a good husband. We aim to make our children good wives or successful businessmen or whatever.
Right.
The aim is wrong.
Trending is not happening without curiosity. So what's driving curiosity? You understand? People that are successful, people that are effective in life are people with priorities.
Those priorities are very, very important. Good morning again, you guys. Thank you for coming through. Happy Thursday. Hey, sports car lady, what's going on? Yeah, it's just me for now. My brothers are coming. All right, so on this episode of the Brothers of Legacy, we're going to close out our politics week by just asking a couple of questions and then put them down in my comments. Hey, Mother McCrory, right now it's just brother, but it's okay. They're on the way in. So with the thank you for sharing, Lisa. I really appreciate you, sister. Um, so we're gonna close out voting week by asking a couple of questions, right? Um, where are my questions at? Hold on. There's AD. Oh, by the way, everyone, we want to send prayers and a shout out to AD. He is currently or on the way to New York. He was in DC last night when we talked. But pray for the safe travels for AD and his family as they head to New York. And thanks, honey. They're heading to New York for the passing of his loved one up in New York. So you guys send love and prayers and all that for my man AD. All right, and my honey said, I look good in red. I know. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna get into what's up, Dylan. What's going on with you, man? Um, so one of the questions, being that the election is so close, I think it's 70 something days, right around the corner. I mean, so what I want to first question that I want to ask is this: what is your uh, local or your personal voting criteria? What makes it important for you when you go out and vote? Because we were talking about this the other day. We were talking about persuasion and being persuaded to go vote for a certain candidate, or you watch a TV ad or anything like that. My wife, and she took when she was in school, she took a class about ads and branding and how you could tell it's this kind of an ad and that kind of an ad just by watching the ad. So my question to my listeners or to our listeners that are on here, what is your particular voting criteria? When you said when you know it's election time every 2 or 4 years, however often you vote, what's your particular criteria? Do you say, he's got to be at least 6'2"? She's got to she's got to have at least blonde hair before I vote for her. I mean, what's your voting criteria? So, my particular voting criteria is, for me, I don't have one. The last thing I go off of is ads. Really, Dylan? Most folks, 80% of the folks do stuff because of ads. That's why the ads got to be on point. It's the same way. I think it's the same way with live streams. I mean, people don't watch live streams if you don't look good, right? So if you got a hold on one second. So okay, I'm back. I was like, yeah. So if your ads are on point, people will look at you. So ads are persuasive. So I don't know. I mean, Some folks don't. So Facebook user, I'm not sure who that is. It just says Facebook user. That's why I put it up there. I stay connected to those who work in the political space. They have deeper knowledge and access to information not easily found. Now that makes sense. That makes sense because you want to stay close to people. Already there. Trying to get one of my guys into the thing. Hey, Dolores, what's going on? Good morning to you. Dylan said, level-headed and for the people policies. Head to their websites and see what they actually plan. Exactly. That's what we talked about yesterday. We was talking about reading Joe Biden's plan, his Lift Every Voice plan for Black America, and Donald Trump's Platinum plan. You got to go and read those things. You just can't. You just can't go sight unseen. Dolores says, good morning to you, Dolores. Glad you're here. Ads are persuasive for a lot of people, but they are usually just smear campaigns or don't have any substance. You know what? I'm gonna bring my man Ephraim in on the conversation real quick. What's going on, man? Good morning.
Hey, what's going on? Morning, everybody.
You still over the topic. Yeah. Hey, Lucas, what's going on? Lucas Gabriel from YouTube, man. Appreciate you coming through. Appreciate you shut the broadcast out. Edgar, did not give you no love. Yeah, you have to click. There's a link you have to click before you can it'll show your name. But now I know it's you, Edgar. What's going on? So, Ephraim, we're talking about voting criteria. When you get ready when it's time, every year, every 2 years, every 4 years, when we get ready to go vote, what is your criteria for when you go vote?
You have to be a likable candidate for me. All right. And I know that's a moving goalpost because likable changes for me year by year.
It does.
but I don't want to vote for anybody who I just don't like. I don't want to put you in power and position over my county, my country, and I don't even like you. If I could choose the people I work with, I would choose differently. People got mad at LeBron, but I would choose who I'll go to play with too. You got to have the qualifications, the background. That's what made this year's so tough. They're not the best. Hey, what's up, AD, man? Sending love out to you, bro. They're not the best candidates, period. Both of them not very likable. Like Pastor said a couple of days ago, you kind of picking your poison.
Yeah, that's crazy. I know I had put up one of the quotes that Joe had said in a debate on Facebook the other night when we were watching the debate, where he said, "You can't get a word in edgewise with this clown." Right? I put that quote on my Facebook, and somebody said, "Ooh, you vote for Joe? How did you get?" I put up a quote. Somebody. As equating to the fact that I'm going to vote for him. I mean, it's highly likely, but that's none of your business.
Right. First of all, let's start there.
Let's start there. I love you, Alicia, but I'm just saying that's what she came right in when she was like, of course, man, we're going to hold down for you, brother.
Yeah. It's never been as divided. People always say this is the most important vote, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, for real, man, people are losing Facebook friends, deleting coworkers. Like it has not been this divided. And I'm going to tell you no secret, like Republicans been a little racist. This is not the first time. So
what do you mean a little bit?
Try to give them benefit of the doubt, but it's never been like how you were saying yesterday, T. It was like, Trump is like that open flame. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. What he's doing with his followers is scary, I
promise you.
Yeah.
Crazy. Lucas says, right, likable people are important, so I know it happened the same day as the debate, the race for John Lewis seat in Georgia. Right. You gotta like people. Yeah. I mean, I'm with you, Ephraim. I didn't think about that when I first said my criteria, but yeah, man, I gotta have a little bit I gotta roll with you a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
If your weed stink, if I can smell it from here, I can't follow you.
You can't do it.
I can't do it. That is criteria. But when we keep talking about this here on the Brothers Legacy, especially this week, because it's so important to vote.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, listen, if you're a racist, I'm not interested in your friendship. Thank you. Let me repeat that. For the folks that are coming in late. Listen, if you are a racist, I ain't interested in your friendship. That's for the people in the back.
And make sure you saying it clear. He didn't say if you a Republican, I'm not interested in your friendship.
Racist, right?
Racist.
Right.
And I don't get what's going on, and especially those evangelicals, because we supposed to be, bonded together. I don't get why you just can't say he helps my taxes, but he did wrong. You should take his Twitter away, but I'm still voting for him. Why is it like, the Bible said, like, wait a minute, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's the remix.
Hey, here's my question to my evangelical friends that's going to watch this later on. Y'all do know that when we go to heaven, there's no segregation, right? And we know we're going to all be there together. So if you don't like me,
say that.
Just so you know, when we leave here, heaven is not segregated. You ain't got the west side of heaven. It's not going to happen. We're gonna be there. We're gonna be there worshiping and praising God together. It's not gonna be. Now, Chris said, "If you're a Dodger fan, maybe." He said, but yeah, my wife put up a post the other day on Facebook, and she said, "It's hard to. It should be hard for someone who is racist be a Christian." And immediately. They made it political. Somebody made it political, and somebody just as quick said, "We're not going to do that." Racism is not about politics, because you could be racist, Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, whatever. But it's crazy. Mama Terrell said, "Heaven is not whites only." Thank you.
I'm telling you,
you're not going to be able to go to heaven. It's whites only pies. It's not going to happen. You're going to be able to.
And our churches,
movie, by the way,
should reflect some of that now. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying denominations are not of God. I'm just saying I don't think that was his original plan. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's some stuff that we do that I think God just say that ain't what I want, but in my permissive will, have at it. But all that separation, you would think that church would be the last place that you see that kind of separation. You feel what I'm saying? Well, there's more Falcon fan diversity than there is, certain these churches. And I know that's different worship styles. And I know y'all might hit me in the comments. I know that's loaded, so I know I'm skipping through it. But I'm just saying, church should look a little bit more like heaven. It should be I should be able to worship with like a Asian brother two rows down, something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Dylan said Trump is holding the black community hostage with his platinum plan. Elect me if you want this to go into effect. Yeah. He just like when he gave stimulus.
Yeah.
Plan. He's like, hey, put this here, honey. It's just how the stimulus was. I didn't get none of that stimulus, by the way.
Just putting that out there. There's still time, President Trump.
I want them to reboot that so I can get stimulus money.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has done that. Hold the plan in play over our heads. You have 4 years to put that plan in place. Ja Rule speaking to Jeff. Chris said something about Dodger fan, being a Dodger fan. Hopefully they don't. There's a different side of heaven for the Dodger fans. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Dylan said, where's this question? Oh, the west side. There is no west side of heaven, bro. I'm telling you. Right there. There's no segregation. What's up, Cole? Good morning to you, sir. Chris said, if a man say, I love God and hateth his brother, he is a liar.
Yeah.
For he that loveth not his brother whom he has seen, how can he love God whom he had not seen? John 4:20. We're going to add, speaking of, I'm glad I read that verse, because speaking of the verse master, we're going to bring him on in the building. What's up, Pastor?
Hey, Pastor. Yeah.
So,
morning.
Hey, Pastor.
I never could understand that. How can you hate someone and then say, I'm a man of God or a woman of God or whatever? I never could understand that. I want to read Jeff's comment real quick. Terry, this year alone, we've literally received over 21 million into our accounts. We were unemployed. Lord, who? Who
is we?
Hey, babe, we missing some money. 21.5. I ain't getting none of that money.
You know, T, like even going to your question with the hate, Let me start off by condemning. I'm condemning all this week, by the way.
Yeah, all this week. He didn't
I'm
play no game.
condemning McDonald's
I'm gonna go.
burgers.
I
I'm
ain't seen none
condemning
of that
everything, man. But
No, that's not what I said, Siri. Go ahead.
if you you should not hate. Let me just put that there. Like that's we should have something in us that's greater than what was got going on the outside.
Amen.
But some of not the origin of hate, but some of what's build it up. We have been treated very poorly, to say the least. And I don't know if you can continue to oppress people the way you do and think that it's just going to automatically spring forth with love. You know what I'm saying? So it is wrong. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm just saying that's kind of where it builds up from. And you started this early age with this hate the police, hate white people. You know what I mean? You start getting that. We have thousands of rap songs that support all that. But I'm just saying, in the church is where you think we should see that difference, where we should see, Pastor, we were talking about churches that should look a little bit more like heaven, more diversified churches. I didn't come against denominations. I was just saying that, outside of worship style preference, outside of, I want to hear a Presbyterian preach for 15 minutes, but I also want to hear a Baptist hoop for 30, outside of just like my preference, that our churches should look a little more diverse, inclusive, but
churches don't look like your community. Your church will look like your community.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
People typically don't travel beyond 15 miles for worship service. So in most cases, your church is going to resemble the makeup, the demographic. And so that's why a lot of churches are so culturally based as opposed to diverse, so that has a lot to do with it. And then you go where you're comfortable,
like
certain types of music and sounds that you're more drawn to. And so that's what the church is made up of. So a lot of it is culture. But I've learned over the years, because I went to Catholic school as a boy. Mm-hmm. And when I was in Catholic school, we were going to a Baptist church. And my community basketball team was with the Nazarene church. So there was a lot of diversity in my life growing up. I just lost my.
Hey, Terry, let me ask you this: like, what made the church originally so attractive for politicians? Like,
votes.
The votes for sure, but like, what made them feel like, well, I can convince their whole congregation? Like, was it? If you can
the alignment.
I don't know. I think it's a little bit of
the leverage from the position of the pulpit, right? The leaders, the shepherd of the church, the pastor is the leader of a community. So if a politician can align himself, if I come into your church, 9 times out of 10, your congregation is going to view me as an ally because your pastor, your shepherd, your spiritual father allowed me in.
Gotcha.
That means I'm safe.
It's an automatic endorsement when you come in.
They also drop big.
You're automatic. Right. If you let me in the door, then I must be safe.
Gotcha.
Yeah. There you go. I like Romelo's comment. They drop big checks at the church too. Then drop me a check off.
Right. But in most cases, when that occurs, the people don't see that.
Right. That is true.
What you mean? To go directly to the preacher?
Yeah, if that happens, and more than likely it's a back office thing. No one stands in a pulpit and says this man is running for office and he just gave the church $10,000.
Yeah.
How often does that happen?
Gotcha. You see that new door handle on the door and a new toilet in the bathroom. We got some money around here. They put a whole new toilet in this joint.
They got that stimulus too.
Yeah, man. All right, we're gonna move on real quick. So the second question, the first question, Pastor, you missed that one. We were talking about our voting criteria and what it would take for us to go and vote. What's the criteria for you? But the second question we're gonna get into: how do you get educated about a candidate that has never held an office? So there's someone in your district, and shout out these questions from AD in DC last night. He was like, I don't know, man. 5 minutes later, I get questions. But how do you get educated about someone who has never held an office? And I'm hearing there's some people that are running for. There's I think down in Texas, there's a lady running for a school board or superintendent or something, and she's never held an office. Matter of fact, this lady is a hairdresser by trade, and she's running for office. How do you get educated on somebody like that?
Unless they came from outer space, they got a background. You know,
somewhere
with somebody.
Yeah.
You know, and the way that, you know, the internet set up these days.
Hey, Robin, what's going on?
You know, look how they did some of these celebrities. They'll pull tweets. they'll find you. You have a carbon trace somewhere, a digital footprint. So, I say the bigger question, the second part of that is, what do I do when I find the information? Because we will find.
We do it. Yeah.
Fine, but how do I, you know, what's the analysis breakdown on somebody who didn't serve? You know, because when you're in a certain office, it's like this. You have a pastor who's running for office. You know, he held a title, a position. You know what I mean? Like, so I can critique his with a different lens. But somebody who was just a lay member, hey, he has some expectations. He should be saved. They should have done this, but you know, they didn't technically hold a title. You know, it's like the stuff they were saying with Trump when he was a private citizen. You know, can we really hold him to it? I think you can, but you can find out somebody's background. You can find out somebody's MO. But when you get that information, what do we do with it? How do we break that down?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about the digital transformation, right, of the world. And now you can look up information on people. You can do background checks. You can do research. Hey, good morning, Melissa. You can look at their social media, right, and look and see how they express themselves and see what their social media community looks like. You know, there's a lot of things that you can do today that you probably couldn't do 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
I agree.
So I think there's ways to get that information on candidates today.
It's even easier now, and it seems like we get an influx of these people, these non-traditional politicians, throwing their hat in the ring. The Kanyes, the President Trumps, and I hate that I said it in the negative. What's her name? Lucy Macbeth. She wasn't a career politician. Her son died in Jacksonville, and now she's in Congress. So some people are just, you know, jumping in the ring. But yeah, you can find them with Pastor. What did they post during the election last year? what Facebook was they
You think they don't know? That's the way they get them. It's just like Trayvon's mom, the same way. When Trayvon Martin's mother ran for Senate, so and won the seat. I mean, so it's happening. Yeah. People are tired of politics as usual. That's the reason. I think that's the reason why people are put throwing their hat in the arena.
Yeah.
Because if I can make a difference in my school board, because I deal with the school every year.
Yeah.
Then yeah. So many comments. What's up, Kevin Peoples, out of Facebook jail once and again? What's going on with you, boy? I'm glad you're out. Robert said candidates should have an announcement or a kickoff. I agree. I want to know why are you showing up now?
Good question.
That is a good question. We'll talk about that in just a second. Lucas said that's cool that a hairdresser is running for office, and I hope she wins. I hear she's pretty popular down there, so it might be a thing. Robert said need to get their info out and have the community help do that canvassing. I agree. If you're local and you're grassroots, absolutely get involved, get the community in, and hit the streets together. Right.
I just feel like there should be a mix. I mean, you know, when you go back to how this thing really started, it was farmers, it was everybody just coming in. There was technically no career politicians. But this is my thing. I do like the hairdressers. I do like, the moms who's been through dramatic experiences and they feel like I can make a difference. I get that. But there is a mix of just the popularity piece versus like actually be able to do the job. If Michelle Obama ran for president, she would win votes, right? But even she said that would be the same thing Trump did. Just because I'm popular, just because people want me, doesn't mean I should run. We really need people who can do the job. Oprah will win a lot of votes, but is Oprah really qualified to be the president? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I do, but that's an unfair comparison with Michelle Obama when you think about her initial career path. Barack Obama started his career, Michelle Obama was his boss.
Yeah.
So I think that she would have been a lot more qualified, honestly, than Donald Trump had she stayed on. And that's just my personal opinion. Again, I think someone said it yesterday. A tree is known by its fruit.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they say.
When you think about organizational skills, in addition to charisma and all of that, and presence, and your philosophy on life and how you process thoughts and all of that, a lot can be said. If you were to rank the mindset of Michelle Obama, because you saw her for 8 years, compared to, if you compare 8 years of Michelle Obama to 8 years of Donald Trump, erase the color line, erase the male versus female.
Right.
Michelle Obama will win hands down every time.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's
my whole soul,
simply because of the fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's become, Pastor, and I do agree with you, especially on Michelle. She's probably accepted to the rule, but it's like it's become that who can win the vote, not necessarily who's qualified to do the job. You get what I'm saying? And you have to, like I just told them, my criteria is likable. Yeah, we got to like you. Yeah, I got to believe in you. But I mean, I also got to feel you can do the job. And that's why, and I love him. That's why I kind of disagree with Dwayne. I feel Hillary Clinton, no matter how you felt about it, I thought she was more prepared to be president than President Trump is. And that's 4 years in, and I still ain't got no confidence that he can do the job.
Jeff Aroni said, I don't really agree. I think, what I've learned in terms of leadership, to be an effective leader, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. In fact, I think that you shouldn't be the smartest person in the room. An effective leader knows how to bring the right resources to the table. An effective leader is built on character and integrity, right? You have to be smart. You have to be intelligent. You have to be able to think on your feet. You have to be able to process, so that's what I look at. I mean, I've been in the military. I've been in rooms filled with politicians. I've been in rooms filled with clergy members, everywhere from, city council to sitting in a room with Bill Clinton, everywhere from, the local Baptist preacher to sitting in a room with, the likes of Noel Jones. So there are a lot of consistencies, and I have never sat in a room with the president, with the person who had the highest title was the smartest person. Right? The smarts and insight are two different things. So that's why I said what I said. And I'm not, I don't expect everybody to agree with me. You can run a company and not be able to run the country. You can stand in front of the crowd and speak effectively and not be able to run a company or a country. Absolutely, that's true. I'm just saying that if you compare personalities and history, and the ability to think and process thoughts and be effective, character and integrity speaks volumes. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. You muted, T.
No one of y'all can't hear me. There was a really quick reset. I am your boy Terry in the Brothers of Legacy. To my right on my screen is Brother Ephraim Terrell, and down at the bottom, of course, is Pastor Brian McCory. If you are in here for the very first time, please put in the comment section first time, or I'm here for, I need some beans and rice or something. Let me know if this is the first time in this particular broadcast. We really appreciate you here at the Brothers of Legacy. Well, like AD is always saying, we are transitioning this group. We started out as just three brothers doing Pass the Cast, and here we are today. So stuff is growing, so we want to get out in the community. So let's do an ad for you. Hold on 1 second. All right.
Listen, I want to thank you for being a part of the Brothers of Legacy. Those brothers that are connecting and commenting during our broadcast, sharing and joining our groups, as well as those that are supporters, the ladies that have our back and constantly cheering us forward. Listen, we are in the process of expanding into local areas, right? We are in the process of expanding our reach and encouraging more men to volunteer, to be a part of their community, and to not only stand out, but to stand up. So today, I want to encourage you to do a one-time seed or a monthly seed into the Brothers of Legacy. Now, what will that do? That will cover administrative costs as well as reach other brothers and meet people at their need. So to do so, we need that financial support, as well as if you are a brother or if you know someone that would like to be a part of this movement, please connect them with us. Listen, we are ever expanding, we are ever growing, we are doing great works, we are changing the narrative. We are changing the narrative. So this is your opportunity to be a part of that legacy. Our legacy is about the building blocks we start today. Our legacy is about the building blocks we start today. So this is an opportunity for you to seed into Brothers of Legacy, make a difference. Your difference starts now, and it'll affect now going into tomorrow. So we appreciate you. We thank you. And I thank you for all the supporters that's already given. And for those that desire to give, this is your opportunity. And I'm thanking you in advance. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your support. And I'll see you later. Take care.
All right, and welcome back. I tell you, I love that ad. You want to know why? Maybe that's a perfect time for a pee break. With that ad.
Yeah, I learned
right,
how to.
So welcome back. Great timing. All right, I got some comments to read. Let me get in here real quick before we get into our last question. I'm not the smartest. This is Chris. I'm not the smartest in the room, even when I'm alone. You know
Chris
what?
is so still crazy.
Successful or questionable. Cole said 100. Pastor, we're seeing someone who has a powerful office, but may not be the smartest person in the room in the Oval Office. That is absolutely true. Kevin said Trump has his intentions, ideas, and intention in the world, wrong places and directions. Instead of doing his presidential, he needs to. Kevin, this is a.
See, Kevin got the band again.
I see what Facebook talking about right now.
Yeah, there's another word you could have used, Kevin.
Yeah, you would rather be on Twitter while focusing on the mess he created. Romy, he's one rich mofo, bro. Money don't grow on trees. Actually, that's a good one. I don't want to go through all these, but you know what I mean. I've stayed in the Trump Tower. It's off the chain. I'm sure it is. It's off somebody's chain and off somebody else's back. But anyway, the Robin, yay for expansion. Yeah, woo, I'm sorry. That was he's failed in major industry. So I guess Romy and Jeff are going back and forth. It looks like he's failed in major industries. That's why he doesn't pay any taxes. Well,
I think Jeff has critical points that he's making. Every leader has some skill, has some qualities that contribute to being a leader. The question is, where are the challenges? What are the areas of challenge? One would argue that Vladimir Putin is a great leader, but he kills off his competition.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Right. So you can say he's been successful, but at what cost?
At what cost? And
some would argue that Donald Trump is successful, but you don't measure at the cost. What has it cost? What has his success cost? And so that's the one thing that I would say. And I know that everyone's level of success, success is always going to cost something.
Yeah.
All right. But the great leaders measure the cost differently and more effectively. And I think that's what you have to do. Success, you can't have success without mitigation of risk, but you can't have success without risk.
Yeah.
I believe that in my line of work, what I do in IT, I can't stop something from going wrong in these major corporations who have their IT infrastructure. But what I can do is mitigate the risk, mitigate the impact, the negative impact that it will have on the organization. Right. And I think that's what leaders have to measure. You know, can we be success? Can we make this happen? But while we're making it happen, let's mitigate the risk of the bad things that can contribute to the success. So I think that's what happens. And I don't think that when that measurement stick in the mind of our current president, it is warped, because for him, it's at any cost. It's at all costs.
His legacy
doesn't matter what he leaves in the wake.
Yeah, it don't matter if it's his personal integrity, his legacy, everybody, whatever it takes to win. You know what I mean? It's this thing. And pass on with you. I get if you're a leader and you're not the smartest person in the room, which is not a requirement. But if you say, hey, I'm not the smartest, Terry, you handled the situation, I give you credit for that. Like it doesn't matter that Terry did it. You know, you had enough leadership to make that move, because that's a leadership move. So I totally agree with you on that. And any president or anybody who runs or any pastor, whatever, you get the credit.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's get into. I left Lucas's question up because it was one of the questions I want to ask you guys and anybody who's watching. What do you think of third parties like the Green Party? Do you think they will gain more votes this year since 4 years ago? Because in my state, in Connecticut, they show every time after the votes come in. What do you think about third party, like, you know, the Libertarians, the Green Party, whatever? What do you think about those third party folks?
They're going to need a dynamic candidate. They're going to need somebody that just rocks the vote. You know, it's going to have to start there, because they're going to have to build people. Now, is the time right? Yes, because people are tired of things with Republicans and Democrats. But they still going to need, you know, the country's still driven by personalities. So they're still going to need, just like everybody, a really good candidate. I think that's what happened with the Republicans. I think that's how we ended up with Donald Trump. You know, they didn't have a whole bunch of great. You look at the primary, you know, Ted Cruz, he was that great. You know what I mean? Like, Jeb had everything you need, the money, the background, but Jeb just couldn't convince anybody. I thought Romney was strong, and I like McCain, but I don't think he was the strongest. I mean, that's the strongest thing you had to offer. So I think they're going to need a candidate, but the timing is right, though.
Yeah,
they can find something.
Right. It's right for the picking.
Donald Trump has had and has more leverage than everyone because of the number of deals, corporate deals he had already made in the United States, right? He had access to the funding. He had the mindset of a certain demographic, you know, and he had leverage. You know, you think about, you know, the unwritten stories, you know, like grab them by the blank, you know, how many people have been in rooms with Donald Trump and are afraid for it to get exposed?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of that is leverage.
Yeah.
You know, so when you think about a third party candidate, they don't have any leverage.
Yeah.
You
know, they don't have any, they don't have the funding, you know, they don't have the leverage. They, you know, a lot of what Donald Trump was able to do was to make deals in back rooms.
So
remember Steve Harvey's face going into that room, and then remember the look on Steve Harvey's face coming out of that room. It looked like a bad prison movie.
Yeah, for real. Hey,
Right.
who would be your ideal candidate, Pastor?
Right.
If you threw out a name, who would be somebody that you think really could rock that?
Honestly, I can't tell you. That's what's so scary. I can't tell you. You know, when you know people denigrate former President Barack Obama because they say he didn't get enough done, and yet they forget that he didn't have any leverage in the House of the Senate.
No.
Right.
No.
Right. That's the only reason.
Right. He was in office, and people who look like us say the same thing. But they never did the research. They didn't realize he didn't have the majority.
I like Andrew Yang.
Yeah.
Andrew Yang. Yeah, but okay.
Not enough.
Is America ready for Andrew Yang?
Yeah.
I don't know. Pete Buttigieg had a lot of votes. If they were ready for that.
Yeah, that's not the question.
They should be ready. And you know,
a lot of votes compared to what? Compared to who? Compared to the last person in his position that ran?
I got you.
What are you comparing it to, right? So the question is America ready for Andrew Yang? And the answer lies in where we are right now. Evidently not.
I want to give him credit for one thing, though. He did have that $1,000 plan he had. Yang wanted to give everybody 18 and older $1,000. And they like, no, we're not going to have the money. And now they rolling out all this stimulus. America has way more money than I thought. Terry, don't make me bring my wife on here to get a kiss, man. Don't show me up on TV like this.
Getting it in. Yeah, well, I want to make sure she's good. I discovered something back in the 90s with regards to the faith-based initiative. A lot of people look at these mega churches and everything, and they don't know where all that money came from. You know, the $7 billion or $700 billion that was part of the faith-based initiative. I mean, the money out there was so crazy in the 90s that the government, and I'm talking about faith-based money, and I'm saying all this money is sitting in these coffers and people don't know the money is there. Well, the reason why the Catholic Church, the Lutheran Church, all these churches are so massive is because they knew where the money was. They've always known where the money was. In our community, we never knew where the money was. We'd be begging for nickels and dimes, and they're getting tens and thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars because we don't have anyone in Washington, D.C. One thing about Washington, D.C., is all about knowing where the money is, knowing where the funding is. And so you'll notice that if you go look at a crop of interns for either political party, there's a new crop of interns that comes in every year out of college. You can take a picture of 100 new interns. You might find one that looks like us on the Democratic side.
Yeah.
Right. Speaking of there might be a couple sprinkled in there. On the Republican side, you don't see us at all, period. And interns have a responsibility when they're being sent from their schools and their homes, their communities to Washington, D.C. Your job is to go find the money. The way that Washington, D.C. is designed, if you want access to money, first you have to know where it is, right? Then you have to have a strategy in place that says, okay, Washington, here's what I'm doing. Here's the impact that it has on my community. I need funding. We go in and say, help me. Yeah. That's our message. And they say, okay, here's a couple of dollars, go ahead. And then we go to prison for misappropriation of funds and tax evasion.
Right. 78-year-old book lady in jail.
Yeah. They go in and say, the money is right there. This is what we're doing. And here's the impact it has. Show me the money. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's the difference. That has been the difference. And what happened is in the 90s when Clinton was leaving office and GW was running against Al Gore, all of this money was available. So Al Gore had this faith-based initiative that he was pushing out to the nonprofits of the nation, saying we've got all this money available and I want to put this money to use. And Al Gore lost the election. Well, what happened is the money got exposed. So George Bush had to pick up the faith-based initiative and had to distribute the money.
Yeah,
that's where and so what they said in DC was, if you can get some educated people in your churches to create programs for your communities, you can get access to this money. We'll teach you how to write grants and all of that and get the monies in. And you have to learn to keep yourself out of trouble. And you can develop those programs. And that's how the mega church, that's how they started creating all of these programs, because they got access to money. They set up a national team, a faith-based initiative team, and they had what they call 20 points of light set up throughout the country. And so these were distribution points for money. Mm-hmm. And what they did in the inner city community is they started distributing the money in the inner cities, because we started putting former lawyers and accountants. Those people started running for office. People with degrees started running for pastorships and all of that, and they became great leaders. And they had the education behind them, and they were able to build staffs. And now you can see the major difference, or the major push for inner city programs, because Washington, D.C. said, if you don't put programs together, started getting these folks off the streets, we're going to lock them up again.
Yeah.
So the objective is to have access to the money. And that's what politics and all, I mean, it's money and leverage and all of that stuff runs together. So,
and I know it's all
great,
but even when you were saying that, Pastor, I was seeing the difference when, you know, whites counterparts, they start churches, they go buy out a whole Family Dollar, a whole plaza, convert the whole building, all these renovations. And we find ourselves still like, you know, renting out of storefronts when we start for the most part. And it's like, it's cool if that's what you're doing by design, but it's like, it seems like they just start off with more money than we do. You know, and not just
because we don't see the difference is when your city council is getting together and they're conducting feasibility studies on what to bring into the community, what to bring into certain zip codes. You're not sitting in there. You have no idea what the strategy is, what the vision is for your zip code, because you're not sitting in the city council meeting, right? So you find out this property is available, these things are coming up, this company's going out of business, all of that kind of stuff. And so we don't do feasibility studies in our community. We say, hey, I want to go start a business. Let me find out what's available. Well, how about this? How about studying the demographics and find out what the needs are in the community, and then align the needs of the community with the politician that's consistent with that. And what happens is that politician will put you in the rooms. Those business owners will put you in the room with the right people. And someone will say, wow, if you're going to do this and it's going to do this for the community, I'm going to put money in there. When I was in LA, man, we used to put business breakfasts together with Wells Fargo, with, you know, Paramount Studios, Sony Studios, Department of Water and Power. We would bring all of these leaders together. And, you know, remember, I'll give you an example. Remember the Welfare to Work program?
Yeah.
You remember that? In the early 90s, there was a Welfare to Work program. And here's what we found out. We found out that when you take a person off welfare, take a major Fortune 500 company, and they help you take a person off welfare. Do you know that a person coming off welfare and into the workforce, every person that's on welfare is worth about $8,500 in tax credits? Okay. What am I saying? What I'm saying is, this is what I learned. I was sitting in a bar one night with a guy from Chicago who worked for Chicago Housing Authority. We're just having a conversation. And on the back of a napkin, he started crunching some numbers. He said, you know that every person on welfare is worth $8,500? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, if you create a program that takes someone off welfare and you put them into the workforce, and an organization, a for-profit organization, helps you build that program. Let's say you go to, like, I'll give you an example. I went to Metropolitan Water District and I said, give me $50,000 to start a program where I can teach people interviewing techniques, teach them basic data entry skills, and show them how to answer phones, you know, how to say, hi, thank you for calling such and such. My name is Brian. How may I direct your call? Right? You take somebody that's on welfare, you teach them those basic skills. You go to Paramount or Sony and say, hey, I'd like for you to hire this person on a temporary basis to just answer phones. And what we did was I created a non-for-profit staffing agency. Well, I didn't create it. I took management over a non-for-profit staffing agency in a non-for-profit organization. And I would go to these offices and I'd talk to these people and I'd say, give me $50,000. Now, what is $8,500 times 15? Right? Sure. The math, right? Yeah. So in exchange for your $50,000, you help me put 15 people to work, and you get $8,500 in tax credits for every person that you have helped me with. All right.
That's great.
What I found out is that in corporate America, tax credits are more valuable than money.
Why so?
Ask Donald Trump.
Gotcha.
That's that dude you asked him right there.
Yeah. Yeah. So Jeff Roney, $127,000. You gave me $50,000 cash. In exchange for the $50,000 in cash, I give you $127,500 in tax credits. Which would you rather have as a CEO, a CFO?
Okay, question, Pastor. So when we start getting money like that or tax credits like that, how does my grandmama end up in jail? What goes wrong?
What goes wrong is I get the $50,000 from Paramount, right? And instead of putting that into use to train these people, I go buy a Mercedes.
Gotcha. It's the rims that did it. All right.
Yeah. The rim that did it. Okay. So real quick, Kevin. I
And
don't have
only
to
the
drop
Mercedes, I take that money and I don't pay capital gains on it because I didn't earn the money. It's like going to Vegas and winning $50,000 in a slot machine and never paying capital gains. So now I'm in trouble for misappropriation of funds and I'm in trouble for tax evasion.
Okay. I was just trying to have one of them nights in Vegas. And
right.
Misappropriation.
Right. Tax liability is more valuable than cash money in corporate America. That's what I learned. And that's what we don't know.
All right. So
that's why people say, well, how was Trump able to get away? Because Trump knew the tax code. That's how. And we're paying more in taxes because we're not educated on filing taxes. We don't know the benefits. When you get to that level, you're never spending your own money.
Yeah, I learned that. Yeah. I always assumed they had that cash. It's just on hand cash, but no, that's either borrowed money, other people's money, everything.
Right. People don't understand the difference between progressive or passive income. The money that you earn, but it's not in your pocket. You understand what I'm saying? Like if people flipping houses, right? If I flip houses for 15 years, if I do it right, the first 10 years, I can't afford a Mercedes. I might be worth $10 million and still not be able to afford a Mercedes because of the passive income. All of the income is in my investments. It's in the housing. I got to take that money I got to spend $50,000 on this fixer upper, right? Sell it for $150,000. Get my $50,000 back, take that $100,000 and go buy another property worth more, flip that one and continue to move that money around. That money never hits my pocket because I don't want to pay taxes on that money. I don't want the penalties of that. I got to wait until I have enough money saved up where I can start taking some out for myself, pay myself a salary and pay taxes on that. Build that money up until you can pay yourself $100,000 a year and pay taxes like the normal working man, but you're not working.
Yeah.
That's how they're making this money.
So Cole Johnson with the comment.
Right, Romello, absolutely, Romello. Most flippers are cash broke. Worth $1 million, but cash broke.
Okay. All right, you guys. So with that, we're going to go ahead and end the broadcast today. So I hope you caught the nuggets that Pastor has dropped. Listen, if you missed them, go back and pop the replay, and then you can catch all those nuggets all over again. But in the interim, just real quick, had a segue into my little thing here. Today, I'm broadcasting or recording my podcast today with 3 phenomenal brothers. One of them is in here the screen right now, and then the other 2, one's in the comments. I'm not sure where Dwayne is, but that's today. I do have an ad to run. I'm not gonna run it. But anyways, if you listen to podcasts, subscribe to Knucklehead Chronicles podcast. That's going to be across all platforms, Amazon Music. Just tell Alexa, hey, Alexa, play the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast. But with that being said, of course, we always say this at the end. We love you here in these Brothers Legacy streets, but of course, God loves you more. You guys have a great rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow on Freestyle Friday. I'm not sure who's running it, but we'll get it. See y'all tomorrow.
But don't be the meal. When you said that, don't be the meal.
Experience is the best teacher, but truth is the Holy Spirit is the best teacher.
If you can find the straightest path to the queen that you're supposed to be with, I believe in, and she finds her straightest path to you, then I think it gets away from all those, the skeletons in the closet.
We aim for the wrong things.
Right.
We aim to make our children a good husband. We aim to make our children good wives or successful businessmen or whatever. Right. The aim is wrong.
Trending is not happening without curiosity. So what's driving curiosity?